Well, we're back to some Bleach Soul Resonance, and we're going to be talking about the possible delays of Yuryu and Candace, as well as what I essentially ran a poll on my channel. Thank you for anyone who participated and asked, what is your preference for, I guess, Yuryu's typing, right? Like, I've seen it be pretty divisive at this point, particularly in the Bleach Soul Resonance Discord itself. So I wanted to see how people felt on my channel, because again, I always say, you know, the people who watch content versus the people who participate actively in like conversations versus the people who lurk versus the people who don't really do any of it and they just play and they don't really like, they aren't really like a part of like the deeper fandom. They just enjoy games. Like people who do that with Dokkan, they aren't really on Dokkan Twitter. They just play Dokkan, right? Because of Dragon Ball game. So I wanted to check the temperature, you know, check the temperature on you, you know, put that shit to your forehead. See how people feel about Yuryu's typing, because as of recently, so we zoom in here, this is Mystic Frontline, and it has been delayed. This is Yuryu and Candace, and their dates have also been pushed back. So we're dealing with a few instances of changing of the guard, I guess, in the actual files, right? These are leaks coming from the Bleach Soul Resonance Discord. And I say all that just to say, you know, we have some time before we see anything really come to fruition here. And let me turn my light down a little bit. Shit is blinding me, gang. We have some time until things come to fruition proper. And because of that, I just want to talk about how people are feeling in the game right now. We got 22 comments here. We'll go through them. And first and foremost, though, let's look at the base information. Let's give my opinion so it's not like altered by anyone's. I haven't looked at any of them. So I posted, interested in talking about this at some point. What would you prefer Yuryu to be? Complete the finesse team, tactic, 63%, agree with that. Tactic for Tsushika Ichigo or replacing Aizen. Let's see if my capture is working. So capture is working here. Them completing the team feels the most obvious to me. I know, and again, we're gonna just yap a little bit about the impressions I've gotten from people. There are people who are sternly, strongly want Bambies as a team to be the thing. So they want all three girls, or you know, any combination of the three girls to be the thing. I get it. The lore has never mattered though, and I want you to know that before you get your hopes up. Look at these three teams, and besides this, recently, when has it actually mattered that, you know, we've got like the lore like accurate team, right? I get that, like, I am one of those people who say it would be cool if we could start getting more lore accurate teams, right? But I mean, even on this team, I would say that this guy should not be on this team. He just happens to be, right? So at some point, unless this is like Coyote Stark, this team will also be broken up. But unfortunately, when it comes to like, oh, let's just make them all Bambies, like, when has that really mattered to the development team, right? Because we go here, these guys don't fucking interact at all. We go here, I mean, Neliel and Ichigo do. I mean, he knows Mayuri, obviously, but like, Mayuri doesn't care about Ichigo. We go here, maybe this is like the most like busted team in general. Like, neither of these motherfuckers care about Grimmjow at all. I can't even remember a time that Soifon and Grimmjow were on the screen together. Were they? Maybe they were. It's been a long time. I always say I read Bleach when I was younger. I never really felt the need to go back and watch like all of the anime over again because I read it as it was coming out. But I can't even remember them being on the screen together. So I do get the idea that, and I have said before, I would like teams that feel more like they're connected. I would love a thing like categories or something where even if the typings are wrong, they still have some kind of synergy. But, you know, c'est la vie on that. They're going to do what they're going to do. So pretty interesting to see that people are as high on, you know, completing the finesse team with Yuryu as they are. Maybe this is showing a division in, you know, the Bleach Soul Resonance Discord and maybe just like the general community. I don't know. Turn my light on a little bit more. Move that back. Still there. But yeah, let's read how people are feeling. So we got a first post here, and again, as I always say, when it comes to stuff like this, don't be weird to each other. Don't be rude to each other. This is literally a video game. This is a mobile game. God, worst of all, is a mobile game, dog. We are here for mobile games. So just chill out. That'll be thrust tactic, but he's universal like Aizen, so you can run him with Bambi. So here's actually like one thing. I hope my capture still works. Capture does still work. Okay. Here's actually one thing that I kind of fear. Back when the game first started, and this was the thrust team, right? It was fine because Geen was very off-field. Back in the day, when... What's another good example of this? You know, something like this. You could use something like this. You could do this. You could do... I mean, any combination, really. Aizen could be your main DPS. You could do... this, like, the reason this works isn't down to the tactic character. It's down to the DPS. The reason you can do this and do this, but you really kind of couldn't do this, even though Toshido was fine, he was not really optimal with Aizen. It was better to just double support Aizen. I mean, if you're going to have boundaries in either of them, why not just double support Aizen? The reason this had everything to do with the DPS and nothing to do with Aizen. Aizen has always been selfish. He has always been selfish. And I know you could say, like, well, dupes or something, and it's like, I get it, but again, I'm going to repeat my point from yesterday's video. There has never been a time where the character was unplayable because there were boundary 0. Unlike Bambi currently, who is literally unplayable because her function doesn't work. Her entry skill function doesn't work. So whereas like, oh, it's like, oh, you know, come on guys, like Strike needs a support and Slash needs a support. It's like, actually, they've ruined the whole argument. Because if you actually compare these two teams, no one has ever been more needy than Bambi is right now. This is awful. This right here is terrible. This is fucking awful. Like, beyond words, this is awful. And it doesn't matter how many dupes you put into Aizen, all you'll end up with, and then same with Bambi, it doesn't matter how many dupes you put into them, the only thing you end up with are characters who logically do more damage because they have more dupes, but do not become more coherent, right? It doesn't actually fix anything. Dupes never really fix a character just not working. It's why people would pull for like Neliel B0 and they'll have a good time with Ichigo, and I'll go, hey, that doesn't feel the best because of Neliel is selfish. She doesn't want to be run with Ichigo. It is what it is. Full stop. She's selfish. That said, the only way to fix that is to get at least boundary 1 in her. But I never said Neliel was a bad character without B1 or B2. I said now that we're at this point and we're not doing this anymore, Neliel has problems that she can only fix with boundaries, right? So it is kind of scary to think of Yuryu. It's like, oh, just make him universal. It's like, that's not really what she needs. She needs Yuryu to be she needs Yuryu to be, like, literally, she needs him to be a finesse character. She needs him to have an entry skill. Like, it's kind of what people, and I'm not talking to this person anymore. So if you're watching this isn't like directly at you. I'm talking about what I've seen in the Discord and stuff. The thing about Yuryu and Bambietta is it's no longer about just buffing Bambi. It's about how they work synergistically. Mechanically, Bambi doesn't need you to give her 300% crit damage. She needs you to use an entry skill. That's it. She needs an entry skill. Obviously, she will also get buffed because of the, you know, the very nature of like mono teams and stat buffs and stuff like that. Obviously that will be true. But even if she had Mayuri on her team and it worked, and even if she had, I don't know, Nelliel on her team and it worked, that rotation would still be fucking awful. And the problem is no rotations have been this awful on launch outside of Bambi. This has been really bad, right? So I don't know, we're just sort of in a different time. We're no longer in a time where it's just like, oh, just throw Universal Aizen at it. We're just not there anymore. And sometimes when I watch like The Truth talk about Dokkan Battle, he'll say, guys, we're not in a dodge meta anymore, or we're not in a tank meta anymore, stats meta anymore. And it's like, guys, we're not in Aizen can just do universal buffs anymore. Bambi has a mechanical failure. The entry skill needs to proc. Unless you just want to give her 4,000% more stats than every other character in the game and fix her that way. She needs to proc this thing. Because never in Bleach Soul Resonance has it been a necessity to pull the dupes to make the character function. The character could always function and then they get better with dupes. Kenpachi could always function and then his rotation gets smoother with dupes. That's how it works. I can't help but want a new thrust or spirit tactic for Trishika, Ichigo, and Ulk. I also think it would be funny to see Yuryu fighting alongside either Mayuri or Zealapado, since they were both enemies at one point. Candice can be finesse tactic and Giselle SR plus support. I mean, that's fair. I think the thing about the Candice tactics thing is like, here's my thing. You can only have one. Okay? Pick one right now in your mind. Yuryu drops. Where is he? He's right here. Yuryu drops and he's thrust. Right? But he is delayed until the end of the celebration. Otherwise, Yuryu drops in 2 weeks and he's finesse. Which one do you want? Because that's what I'm going to say right now. She cannot wait until the end of the celebration for help. She can't. She cannot. This character is fundamentally useless. Doesn't matter if you have a B6 or not. Like, she needs help. She cannot wait until you are getting Yuryu or Candice at the end of the celebration. So that's my thing. If we're gonna make it so Yuryu is suddenly thrust, if we're gonna make him suddenly a thrust character, she cannot wait until the end of the celebration for that. Yuryu becomes the character that can be delayed. And I know that hurts to say too, but it's like, he can be delayed because thrust is fine. You're gonna make thrust go from the best team to the best team. Who cares? But Bambietta can't wait. She needs help now. I personally want him replacing Aizen, but still working in finesse team. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I get it. Like, I just don't think it's possible anymore. Like, honestly, I think we're kind of just away from that. Like, have we had a version of that has been possible? The best tactics character I would say we currently have is White Ichigo. I think this character is absurd mechanically. He literally works with Bambi. Not synergistic, not like buffing her like actually or anything, but the way he's set up is so general that I would say that he is currently what Aizen used to be, in that he does a lot of damage by himself without needing to be supported himself, right? So I guess, but it's like, even then, it's not to that level. It's not to the level that at launch where no one was doing the same damage as Aizen, right? So like, if these are like the top 3 tactics characters that we've gotten so far, and then maybe you replace that with Aizen, like, that's just not where tactics characters have been for like 6 months, maybe even, you know, longer than that, right? It's just not where we've been. So I don't know. I get the idea of like, oh, just make Yuryu Aizen, but it's like, we're just not there anymore. Like, when Aizen was doing that, these were like the 3, like, some of the 3 strongest characters in the game. Like, this was our like S tier back when Aizen was doing that. Like, we're just not there anymore. I just don't know if we can return flatly to like, oh, just make Aizen, you know, just make him like Aizen and fix it. I don't know. I think we're away from that. Just Candace is a finesse tactic and Yuryu is tactic for TS Ichigo. Maybe. I mean, see, we are seeing that quite a bit. At the same time, I want Yuryu on finesse team. I don't want Candace to be support. Yeah, I mean, that could be a problem, right? If you, like, want Candace to... Because Candace gets, like, a big fight scene, you know? She fights Ichigo. And though she gets, like, you know, beaten up, I mean, you know, it's true Shikai Ichigo showing up for the first time. He beats everybody up. She has some cool shots in there, right? So I get that. I think what they could do is make her... like this guy, where this guy's still putting out like millions of damage when he ults and stuff. I mean, that's like fine. And if I'm honest, you could make her do more because she's gonna have an entry skill. So if it ends up being something that looks like this, right? Like, you know, and this is like Candace, let's say, like these two characters are still doing a bunch of damage together. I had an idea where you make Candace. And someone actually pointed out what I was thinking. I think it was maybe it was RB in the Bleach Soul Resonance Discord. It was someone. They immediately thought of Hades. And Hades, when you get the Zeus, you know, support abilities for Zagreus, the lightning bolts come down and they strike you. One thing I could see for Candace to make her feel good to play is to have her drop these lightning bolts even when she's off field. She essentially afflicts the enemies with a debuff called like Zapped, and they just get struck by lightning by her. I think that would be cool, and it would let her do damage. It would give her the illusion of damage, you know. He must be replaced to Aizen. Okieta isn't good now. Aizen is quite old. Aizen is quite old. And yeah, I don't... Again, I have a problem. I get it. You know, oh, free-to-play channel, you know... What does it matter? He's good at B6. He's rerun a billion times. Here's my thing. Whether I was spending on the game or not, whether I was spending $1 billion on the game or not, the floor for the character should be B0. No matter what. The character should release, and we should be able to evaluate them at B0. I play Dokkan Battle. I don't pull for dupes. When I pull for an anniversary character, like... you know, Tech Vegito or, you know, AGL Gogeta, I'm never like, oh, I mean, they're okay, but, you know, at 55%, you might need 3 dupes. Like, the floor should be pulling the character, and then you should just elevate. There's a character in Dokkan Battle right now, a monthly character. So that means less important than Yuryu, less important than Bambi, less important than Grimjo, less important than Okieta, named Metal Cooler. And that Metal Cooler is a demon. He's arguably the best character in the game and has been for a few months now. 55%. If Candace ends up as a support, I'm going to run a 3 support team. They won't take this away from me. A Bambietta team. They want Bambietta team or something, I guess. Oh, yeah. Wants a Bambi team with, like, Candace as, like, the damage dealer or something. Replace Aizen Spirit Tactic. Yeah, I mean, I get it. Thrust, so he's in the same team as Ichigo. They also said Ichigo and Yuryu would fight alongside each other. Also, Hollows are poisoned to Quincy, so it would make lore sense for Okieta and Yuryu to be on the same team. I don't really think that matters, I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, they haven't been doing lore teams, sadly. I want them to. Sorry, I got the hiccups here. Did I look up there? Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know. I get it though. Finesse needs support way more than Thrust. I mean, you're preaching to the choir, brother. I've been saying that. It is. I get it. I get why people want the Thrust Yuryu. I do get it. I get why they want Aizen replaced. I do get it. But I will say, they dropped a problem in the game, and Bambi can't wait. No point in replacing current characters when there is a typing without a team. Hopefully he's finesse tactic. Yeah, I mean, that's just the reality. It's like, some people were saying, like, dropping back-to-back would be a mistake. The mistake is already done. They dropped, like, Bambietta as a new typing. That's the mistake. It's flatly. Making her a new typing was the mistake, so now they have to fix it. If they don't fix it, that's actually the mistake. The mistake isn't, like... oh, drop them back to back. Oh, woe is me, free-to-play players. You can get the characters. It's not like you can't get the characters. I saw people being like, what are free-to-play supposed to do if they drop the same typing back to back? You're supposed to pull on them. You can get a character and a weapon every single patch. And we got like 40 free tickets over the course of the delay. You're supposed to pull on them. He has to be finesse to complete the finesse team. Yeah, Ichigo is already in the best team in the game and clears the whole game. No need to buff him even further than he already is. Finesse desperately needs some help if they're serious with this new typing. They need to complete it ASAP or it would have been a complete waste of jades and resources. That's what I'm saying. Aizen or Tosen better for TS. Is Aizen or Tosen better for TS Ichigo? Tosen probably, right? Just because, like, if you have, like, Core Stamp, which is what does the debuffing, Tosen just takes less time on field, and I think that's better for True Shikai Ichigo, but I haven't tested it. Aizen's just a stronger character, but you might have Tosen dupes because he's free, essentially. He's on standard ticket. So it's like, you know, half a dozen or the other. It's whatever. I don't really think it's like... B1 Aizen is certainly better than every version of Tosen, probably. But B0 Aizen is probably worse than Tosen, I guess. Unrelated question, but it's fine. I want to see permanent finesse-specific content in the game next patch. Me too. To integrate finesse into events like Trial Tower, Frenzy Feast, and the like, they need a full team ASAP. Very right. Finesse tactic Yudu, ideally in 2 weeks. Yes, sir. Would also be the best fix for Bambietta's woes. Yuta, Yuyu, Bambi should then be at least as good as Yuta, Hichi, Ken. Yeah, I think so. Then Candice could iterate on Zael's supports can do damage 2 thing. Absolutely. So her unique flavor is better represented in the support space. I fully agree with this sentiment. And not because it's just my own, of course. Come on. I would never do... Come on. But, no, I agree. Like, I'm sorry. That's where we're at, unfortunately. This was the mistake. Like, this girl right here, this typing was the mistake already. So there is no mistake of dropping, like, Yuryu showing up as finesse, you know, them dropping Yuryu finesse, Candice finesse back to back to back. That's not a mistake anymore. This was already the mistake. If you want to point at anything, this is already the problem. Okay? They need to fix this because there is no team that has ever been in a worse situation than this finesse team. And it's because you cannot introduce a typing based around a mechanic and not have the rest of the team house that mechanic. It literally makes her useless. This is the only bad character I think they've ever dropped. And buffs don't fix it. This is a mechanically bad character as she currently stands. That is a problem. That is bad. That is bad. Is to be mechanically bad. Soifon was never in this position. Neliel was never in this position. White Ichigo was never in this position. Aizen was never in this position. Grimjo was never in this position. Kenpachi and Ichigo were never in this position. This is uniquely awful. Because she cannot access an entire wing of her kit. She can't access this. She can't. The only thing that accesses this is herself. That's so bad. That's so bad. But we've been here for nearly half an hour, yapping it up. I hope this was enlightening to some degree. I hope this is what they end up doing. I'm not gonna lie. I think it would be I think that if your heart is telling you that you want Yuyu to be thrust, your brain should be telling you that you want him to be finesse. Because that is better for the game. That is flatly better for the game. The mistake is not making Yuyu finesse. The mistake was making the new typing at all. It just is what it is. That's how it is. So they need to fix it. They need to fix the mistake. That said, my devs, they're gonna make this interesting. He might show up and be Slash, dude. Like, who knows? My devs, they like to keep us on our toes a little bit. My devs like to keep us on their toes a little bit. They do like that. So who knows what they actually end up being in the end. Until then, I've been Lone. Like if you liked the video, subscribe to the channel, we'll make it, and peace.